Yep. As you were saying, list numbers has its own method called length. It goes through it, which will be what again? Five, right?
Yeah,
Okay, keep going. Start from here now.
increment by one. So we put a if statement to compare. So it's gonna be it's gonna start at 0, which is 10. Is that greater than the max age, which is 0 right now? It is. So that means max age is now 10. And then it's gonna run it back again, but now 10 as the max age. And if 10 is if I mean if the next number in the list, which is 20, is greater than 10, that then yeah, it is greater than 10, so it'll replace max age with 20. It's gonna keep doing that until it hits 55, and then it's gonna take 55 and it's gonna compare it with 21. 21 isn't greater than 55, so it's gonna stay as 55 and it's gonna stop.
So what happens programmatically at this point? If once it hits three, if this is, would you say, like what happens? It's kind of hard to say without giving the answer. But what would you say happens after it sees list of numbers I, which is at this point three, right? 55. Is it? It's saying is it that? No, sorry. Start here. So 55 for now is max age, right? And then it
Yeah,
goes to four, and then it says is 21 greater than 55, which is what false, right? So what
yeah.
happened? What happens exactly programmatically at that point?
At that point, it just ends.
It skips it exactly, right? Because so basically what would happen at this point is what's happening in the background when it compares a false statement, which is at that point it is a false statement. It just doesn't execute anything in the body, right? And
Yeah,
like for instance, if I had a piece of code here, it would just break this, right? And then it would continue from here, whatever I said here. But everything in here becomes irrelevant at that point, whatever it
yeah.
is. Yeah. Yep.
But
No,
then
exactly.
wouldn't it try to run the for loop again, but then see that I is greater than the length and then stop it?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, cause it'll still open it up. It'll move to five, right? But it's seeing that list of numbers is what?
Five.
Right. Listen. So I is not five is not greater than five, right? So then after at that point it just breaks. So then the whole for loop breaks. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's a good kind of review of what we established here yesterday. So let's now try to do the same thing here. Um, so let's see. I kind of want you guys to take over. So let me copy paste this here. All right. So let me see. Okay, so the variant of list of numbers for length is size, right? So if I put right, so far so good, no errors. Let's see what happens here. Get max age
Your
with.
typing is mad loud. You're probably getting that on the recording.
Oh yeah, you can hear it. All right, I'm gonna try to type a little lighter. All right, and what should this be? If I run it right now,
What's the question?
what's gonna happen if I hit run right now as you see it?
It's gonna give you the size.
Which is what?
Is that the same thing as length?
Yeah, yeah, you got it.
So it'll be 5.
5.
There you go. Right. So basically the same analogous function that a array had, which was length. They just called it size. That's however they could have called it length if they wanted, but they decided to make that small distinction because they know people know arrays and use arrays, so they're like, all right, whatever, I'll just use size. And all right, so with that in that vein, I want you guys to finish this up. So just delete this out. Go back into your Eclipse. Call it the same method. You don't have to create a pull request like ish. I just want to see it in your screens after for the video. So just start with this and then complete the same exact for loop. So you would want to start here int max age equals 0. So same exact algorithm, just make the for loop and use it with, well, we said here, I'll put it here. So size is just one of the, well, let's this is how I did it, right? And that gave you the answer from before. So let me highlight one more time this, right? So I'm commenting it out because you don't need that, obviously. I'm not trying to get the size of it. I'm just trying to get the max age of it. So write out this function and try your best to do these exact same for loop. You got your algorithm here. Just use lists and don't use any indication of an array. Oh, there's one thing I missed. Don't do that just yet. All right. So this is a size is one of the functions of a list. And now how you had here, where you're retrieving the actual number from whatever you locked it up as. So you know how in here you said list of numbers I, which let's assume right now is 1, and you got 20. So just in that same sense, the list structure has another function. It's just called get, right? So if I put, what do you think would happen if I run this? What would get printed?
30.
50, 55, I think, right?
Why 30 or why 55?
Does it start with 0?
Right. So yeah. So this is just a small little trick question. So it's just a convention. It didn't have to necessarily be the case, but how anytime you have a list, it's just convention to start at 0. So write 0, 1, 2, 3. So it'll be 55. Let's print it. There you go, 55, right? All right. So this is actually, let me make sure so I don't make that same mistake again. Yeah, you should be good. Okay, so just try your best. There's only 2 functions from coming out of the list of numbers that you have to keep, or 3 functions: add, size, and get. And all I want is the same analog. So take your time. We're not gonna rush this. And call out anytime you need a question. We're gonna go over it slowly.
So on line 14, you say list integer, list of numbers equals new array list.
Yeah, I'll explain all that in a bit. Don't worry. Forget that. You can just type it all out. That's not as important right now. That's just it's called instantiating an object, which you'll find out what all that means. But for now, just type it out exactly as is, because that's not important to knowing what the idea of it is.
have to import array list, right?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. So there's just another piece to this where usually if you hover over it, you guys didn't see it before, just let it import by itself. If you hover over it, this, and you hover over this, it'll import the array list, this part, and list this part. How are you guys looking? I don't hear any typing. You thinking?
I'm working on it.
All right. Let me know if you're stuck. It's fine.
I don't know. It's giving me an error
That's fine.
in the if statement.
Okay. All right. I'll give one more. I'll give a hint in case you guys are stuck. Fa, how are you doing, Fa and Ish?
Wait, I'm not done yet.
Okay, that's fine. No, I'm not gonna give you the answer. I'm just gonna give a small hint. Ish, how are you doing?
I finished.
Okay, you're probably good. So a good way to do this is just literally copy and paste it and find out where to find that, paste the analogs. So I'll give Fa a little more time, and Berm, you want more time or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's the error?
Um, At the if statement, it says the type of expression must be an array type, but it resolved to list
Okay,
integer.
all right, let me help you out with that because that doesn't deal with any type. So just share your screen.
I had the same issue. I'm not sure if you went over like the add method, the get method, and stuff.
Let me see.
So right here is the error.
Yeah. So see how in the beginning you're using .add, you can't use the bracket thing.
Try. So what? It should just be nothing.
It shouldn't be nothing.
So is it?
So what issues? Yeah, go ahead.
What are we supposed to do in the main method after we write the code in the other method?
At that point, like you see how Berm has on his screen the get max age with list. If you did it correctly, everything inside the body, all you'd literally have to do, Berm, you could go up for a second.
Right.
Yeah. You see get max age with list, he'd just have to run it and then it'll most likely print out 55 because that's what we have as the algorithm is right, so it would print out 55. And that's the main method. If you want to think of it, it's just the point through which your point of execution, right? So you have your little library of methods where he has it as get max age with list, and he would just put it just as how he did it, and he would have to hit run, and in the console he would see 55. So if you're confident in your body, then just do it in the exact format he was doing it, and just hit run.
An error.
That's fine. What does it say for you?
Let me try again.
Yeah, but let me go back. Go get that pop-up box away. So let's see what you did.
Mine says errors in workspace. It's like a window that popped up.
Error in workspace.
Yeah, errors exist in required projects, code boost intro, proceed with launch. Do I have to restart my Eclipse?
If you want to try, yeah. Yeah, you could try that. Yeah, try that. In the meantime, I'll explain to Berm what's going on here. Yeah, that's why I wanted you to. Let me see what you did. So you added the numbers, right? So far, up until line 21, you are using the list method right. I mean that is what I typed out. So let's see where it starts to break down. So you did use the size method right. Just like you use the length from an array, you use the list of numbers dot size, right? So far so good. Up to line 24, everything is correct. Line 25, things start breaking down. Let's see why. So what's going on there? What did you have right before that? I think you typed it.
I was just trying different things out. See if this list of numbers. I put an I in here.
Right. So let's do one thing. Right in that line 25, take out the parentheses, all of it, and just leave list of numbers. And just type in dot. So you see all that pops up, right? You'll see a bunch of methods that 99% of which you'll never use because it's just like a dictionary, right? Like you don't need to use most of the words in the dictionary. Yeah, there you go. Like the size is just one of. I mean, that's not what you'd use here. Because you'll think about it in a second, but before that you just had parentheses, but that wouldn't make sense, right? Because that's not a function. It has functions inside of it. So if you want to think of it in a way, it's like, all right, if you just hit dot, like list of numbers dot, which of those functions do you want to use? So go ahead and delete that one more time. Click. Take out the period too because you have to click it one more. Okay, at that point. Think about like which method you want to use.
Get into.
Why get?
I guess you would get the number that's in that list. In that.
Well, type out what you mean. You're on the right track.
Shit, what I do. Well, it would get whatever's in this. Okay, let's see. If I is 0, It would get whatever's in 0, which would be 10.
Right. Yeah. So far so good. Yeah, that's it. So line 25. Line 25 is good. So now you got to complete it.
Now, max age equals list of numbers dot. Same thing.
And there you go. That's it. Now you try to run it.
Didn't give me anything.
Oh yeah, you had to actually print it. So now you would
Right.
yeah. So have a print statement somewhere there.
The print.
Before you run that, right? And before whatever you're gonna put right there, I'm not gonna stop you. But well, just complete your thought, but stop right before you run it. Okay. So what are you expecting right now? After you hit run, what are you gonna print?
55.
What are you gonna print?
It should say 55.
Okay, go ahead and run it. All right, what happened
Whoa.
there?
Okay. Is it not an integer?
No, you got all that right. So look at the numbers closely. The output says 10, 20, 30, 55,
Okay.
right?
It's printing everything out. So max age.
Why is it that it's printing everything out? Why do you think that's the case?
It's just max age is okay. So shouldn't be. I think something wrong here. Okay, use that max age would equal.
I think an array list error.
All right, let's go to your Berm. Work on that a bit. See if you find it. All right. Now stop sharing your screen. Let's see what's going on with the file.
Alright. I have.
All right.
Like, I don't get what's wrong here. Like, why is it
Oh,
like?
that's not. You got your logic right. That all looks right to me. Ish, you see it? Anything looks off to you? This looks right. Array list. You just didn't import the library. So hover over it for a second.
Oh, this?
Array list cannot be resolved through a type. So let's figure that out. Scroll up for a second.
Oh, okay.
You see what have you imported so far?
I didn't do any of that. I
No, I
think
know
this is already
you
there.
hovered over it and you let Eclipse do it for you, but you did import something, right? So what are you missing? You're just missing one more thing.
This one, array list.
Yeah, it just has to import that. Like right now, what we're doing is we're using libraries that other programmers programmed, right? And in order to use it, you need to define it. So right now you're free of error. So let's see. Well, save it first. Cancel. Hang on. Click save. Is some
I
of the-
did save it.
Okay, but you're not printing anything, right?
Is this supposed to spit out like 55?
Well, so far, how is it that we regularly spit out stuff to the console? What method do we use?
System printout?
System printout, right? So where is that in your?
Yeah.
No.
Well, hang on. Don't do. Remember, everything right now. For now, in the main method, we just want to use that one single method tag, right, to refer to it. So let's do it inside the tag. Yeah. Now Berm is facing the same problem you are right now, in that he's not sure where to put the print line. So where do you think you put it?
Right here.
I mean, up to you. You do it, and then we'll see what happens. Before you do that, and before you execute it, explain why you put it there. Berm put it right under line 29, and right before the. Finish up what you're gonna type, and then I'll tell you what Berm did.
Oh wait, I think it's.
Yeah, Fab. Write out. Finish your thought. Complete your statement.
It's supposed to be get max age. Like I'm a little confused. So.
Okay, hold on. I think I got it.
So you're inside the function right now, right? Don't
Yeah.
confuse yourself. You're scrambling your thought because right now you have the right algorithm. Now you just want to print out the max age. How do you print out the max age?
Max age.
Yeah, right. Because you're already storing all that in the. You already did the hard part. Okay.
No.
Hit save. Wait, let's find that error before you proceed. Oh, you got it, but let's see. Where's the error? Oh, make sure you never. Make sure you're not messing around there.
I'm just gonna delete this.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So, look, Berm, look at Faz.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got the. I see what I did wrong.
You understand, right? Yeah. So basically, anytime, Fa, you got it right. That's exactly it. So let's stop sharing your screen. Let's see what Berm did wrong the first time. All right, Berm, share your screen. All right, let's see it now. I want to see it working.
So I put it outside of the bracket here because it was in the if statement.
Right, and I see another reason why that happened to you. So Ish, this is a question for you. Can you see some bad practices here? Do you notice anything? Like really bad practice here. It's glaring. Almost.
In this function?
It's what?
In this function?
Yeah. Just look at the body from lines 15 through, 29? Or I guess 31. And tell me what you notice.
29.
And this is a common, beginner's mistake, but...
The bracketing, right?
Yeah. But
the lining up of the brackets.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like the if statement, the one bracket is over there. So that really is going to confuse you if you don't do it right. Remember, for loops themselves also have... Well, let's fix it up first. Let's see what you come up with.
Yeah, I didn't think that was the issue you're talking about. I definitely was getting confused.
That's fine.
Well, would you put it like this? Because I usually...
No, you don't put it that way either. And look at the for loop.
I usually do it like that, yeah. But where's your for loop bracket?
He doesn't have it, right? And
if
you don't have a for loop body, that's gonna really mess you up because you know how he had it before. He had the ifs right bracket indented to the left, so that looked like the closing for loop bracket. You get what I mean? So this was a simple. This didn't hit you here, but in the future, there you go. You're getting a little better. Yep, that's it. So always before you even complete the for loop, before you even complete the if loop, look out for those brackets. Make sure even if for the most simplest things, look out for the brackets. If you don't have them, you'll really confuse yourself. Let me see. Yep, and this is it. But make sure about those brackets because you'll find yourself in a logical hole if you don't do it. But yep, you got it.
Okay, cool.
Yep. All right. I'll take back the screen. All right. Okay, let me see if a few more methods for a list. So far, I'll keep like a running tally of what we used for the list. So list methods, get. Say again?
Hello world class getting a little crazy.
Say again?
My hello world class is getting a little crazy.
All right, let's see that before it becomes a bigger.
Well, I was erasing everything. Were we supposed to not erase things?
Everything?
No, he just had this one method that was throwing a compiler error. So let's make sure you fix that before we continue, or else that's gonna. So
issue.
Say again?
I don't have any issues.
But what's happening?
It's just like a bunch of shit,
No,
like
that looks fine. Everything's aligned. It just looks a little crazy because you're spacing out a bit more than you should. Like you see how, yeah, it looks a little crazy, but it's actually decently thing aligned. So you might want to reduce the spaces between them. But if there are no errors, this looks fine to me. Just if you wanna, yeah. Just close up the spaces and you're good. But you're good.
all right, I'll just do that.
All right. All right. So I didn't even go over like so what if for instance you wanted to reduce the size of this array to one of that is right now it says a length of list 5 and you want to make it a list of 4. So you want to take out this 21, make it a list of 4. And it's such an involved process in that I don't even Ish, I'm not sure if it's been a while since I even went over. I feel like you have to make a completely new array, right? Of like this. What I mean like this, like int new array equals new int 4. I'm pretty sure this is the case, but let's say I wanted to create a new array. Well, I wanted to reduce the size. With how it's programmed and with how arrays are technically defined, you can't do that. Like you can't just trim this like as you think of it intuitively. You would have to copy and paste everything. You have to create a new array of length 4, and you'd have to one by one go through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and not count the last one and copy paste it a new one, which is pretty ridiculous, right? So let's see how else the simple list structure kind of eliminates all that. So with what I just explained, keeping that in mind, this is how simple it is. So okay, it's so intuitive that I'm pretty confident you guys would get it. So suppose I'm saying, I kind of wish I didn't even type it out because I feel like you guys would have gotten it. Suppose I wanted to, don't even consider a for loop right now. Say I wanted to remove, let's say, remove 55 from the list. Then print out 21. Don't think about for loops for now. Just simplistically, right? How would I go about doing that? How do you think? And I didn't even introduce this following method yet, but I feel like you guys would get it. So far I've shown you size, get, add. What do you think? What do you think the method is called?
Does it be something like
Is it what?
is it
List
gonna
of
be
numbers dot remove or something.
Yeah, there it is. So tell me how I would type it out.
List of numbers dot remove.
Yeah, exactly. What else? What should go in here?
You'd put 4, right?
Why?
No, 1, 2, 3.
No, I think you're right. 0, 1, 2. Well, yeah, you're right. 0, 1, 2, 3, because we're starting at 0, right? Yeah. Okay. And how would I now print 21?
system out print line, and then put list of numbers get 3. I don't know.
Let's see. What are we expecting from this output?
1.
There you go. Exactly. Right? So it did all that. Let's see what it just did right there. So much of what I just explained is happening in the background. But imagine trying to get anything done. You just wouldn't be able to because you're creating a new list, creating a new array here. Copy and pasting, which involves a separate, algorithm, and copy and pasting it into a new array, which is crazy. But it's all happening in the background. We're just not seeing it. It's as simple as saying, adding. So the ultimate end goal is for it to sound just like English, right? That's your ultimate end goal. And just like you did it here, list of numbers that add, you added them up. You removed based on the index of 3. You 0, 1, 2, 3, took out 55. And because that index number has been removed, the new index of 3 is 21. And just like that, you got your, you got what you're looking for. So let's add that to our growing size. And I recommend you guys type it, comment somewhere and type this out. So for the upcoming questions, you can quickly refer to them if you're kind of in a bind. So we did just cover remove. And that's it. That's what I want you guys to get used to, because this opens up a lot of possibilities in itself where you're not worrying about arrays. So let's try another problem. Okay. Okay. Something else. Remove last age in list. So just like the same again, and that the same starting point. Let's do that. So you got the same list, right? And I want to make it so, regardless of if I say list of numbers dot add, or add another age here or another age there, all I want to do is whatever the last number in this list is, I want to be able to remove it, right? And to prove it, well, I also want to prove it to myself in that I want to have a final print statement in this function that that prints out that last number. Does that make sense? So let me reiterate if you guys need to, unless that made sense. So I'll gladly repeat it.
You said first it should remove the last number?
So what I'm saying is, all I want you to do is, given any list of numbers, right? Given any list, whatever the last, you think of it in a box, like, this is still in a sequence going by, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't care. Just as long as you remove the last number, right? The last age. You remove the last age in list. And then after you remove that last age, I want you to print the new last age. You get it? So for instance, ideally what would happen if, my ideal scenario is, I feed this in, it removes 21, and I print 55, right? And if I had this, it would remove 3 and print 21. That's what your algorithm should accomplish. And at this point, you can use, everything's fair game, including for loops, including if you need to use them or not. That's all fair game. But here are your list methods. You shouldn't need anything else outside of this. So go ahead.
Okay.
We do it now.
Say again, Fa?
We do it now.
Yeah, start.
So I remove the last, and then I print out the new last.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you have a hint at like what type of thing I'm supposed to use?
Yeah, sure. So
Like, am I
what I'll
like,
say what I'll say for now, and I do want you to try after, is this is everything we went over before. We want the get method, add, size, remove, right? And what I'm telling you is you won't need to use anything outside of this. And what I'm telling you is the function will require a for loop, right? Because ultimately that's the only way to
go down the list?
Right.
Okay.
So we'll say hint use for loop.
Have taught that needs to be in here?
Say again?
Is there anything that you haven't taught that needs to be in the code?
No, nothing.
How would I use a for loop to find like the position of something in a list? I don't get how to do that.
If you need to find the position of something, what do you mean?
Yeah, because you're ultimately just looking for the last item or whatever in
Right.
the list.
Right.
So, what am I comparing like here? Like it's
You're
I don't
actually
get
not comparing
compare
anything, right? 'Cause
position.
so, okay, how as a quick exercise, go down what each of these methods do. So start with get, add, size, and remove. Start with here.
Get gives you the value of a certain what are these called? Elements or something?
You could call them what
Like
you want, but whatever's in the list, you get whatever's in the
yeah,
list, right? So get, how would you get this? Get 0, right? Because this is the
okay,
0th index, and the
yeah,
get 1 would get you this, right?
yeah.
Add you don't need to use, obviously, so that narrows down your list of options because I already added everything you need.
So use mm, oh, I think I know what to do
You're
now.
right. Yeah, this is something you just gotta like stare at for a second. It's always jarring at first, but give it a go.
You said, do we need an if statement in here?
Let me see.
Just a for loop.
I think a for loop is fine here because let me think about it. I didn't even work it out yet.
Do I need to copy that specific list you made though?
No, you can do a different one. I don't care as long as it establishes the same thing. Oh no, I completely messed up. You don't need to use a for loop. I don't know if you guys, I must have screwed you up. I was thinking about something different, but no, you don't need to use a for loop.
I was thinking about it. I realized that.
Yeah, my bad. I was still thinking of arrays. Ish, you said you were thinking of that, but you didn't, or was that Berm? I forgot.
You know, for loop.
That was me.
That was you, Berm. Yeah, you don't need to use a for loop.
How would we? Okay, let me see.
Berm, did you get it, or you're still working?
Hold on. I was trying to fix
Yeah,
something.
because you had the right idea
erased the
before
last
me.
one.
Yeah, okay, keep going. And Ish, you already got it?
Yeah.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you pass anything like a variable to another function as a parameter, are you sending that same variable, or are you like sending a copy of it? So
What do you mean? Give me an example.
like, okay, so if I passed a string to a function, right,
Right.
and it originally said x, and in the function I set that string that was passed to the function to b, is the original string going to be b, or do you get what I mean?
No, I think you're talking about pointers, right?
Yeah,
Let me think. I remembered this.
general.
I think anything besides primitives are technically being pointed to, if that makes sense. to answer your question, but that was like that's CS stuff. I went that over ages ago. Why did your CS professor say something else?
I just forgot.
I'm pretty sure it's pointed to. Yeah. Yeah, that type of stuff I forget because you'll never use that in your life.
Okay, hold on.
This is a tough problem, like a very tough problem. So take your time. Like when you're first exposed to it, this is tough, definitely.
I am so lost with this.
No, that's
I
fine. That's
like. I
fine.
feel like it's
No, once you see the solution, it's gonna be very intuitive. I'll tell you that. It's just
like
very.
I don't know. Like I feel like I'm thinking of too many things right
You
now.
are, you are, you are, you are. But once you see it, it's gonna be intuitive. But it's hard to get to that point. What I suggest is don't try to get the solution now, but just one by one, go down, take this exact list, and just slowly, like do stuff like, all right, what happens if list of numbers dot remove at 3, right, or something like that, and then see if you could. I don't want to say too much because that'll give away the answers, but see if you could combine this somehow with. That's all I'll say. Like, think of combinations if that's possible. Because I'm telling you, once you see the answer, it'll be very obvious. So,
Oh,
yeah, so just try to mix and match and see if you could combine in a way, if you know what I mean by that. Let me kind of pitch in right now. So let's go back to, let's say, you're obviously you're trying to remove that last one. So let's say you want to start really dumb, like that's what they call it, where you want to find the most dumbest solution. Where, all right, this is technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the list of 7, right? So obviously you remove it. So how would I? Let's say for now 3. How would I remove that 3 out of there? Fa. 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 Can you guys hear me?
oh yeah, I was muted.
Oh.
Um, You put 6 where you have it highlighted.
Right, because it's going by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exactly, right? Our problem is right now. What the problem is what
You can add to the list.
you
so
can
like
add to the list, right?
the
Exactly.
6th, whatever that's position where the 6th has to be adaptable to the
Exactly.
size of
Right. Exactly. Right. So if I did
the
this,
size of the list.
so you're on the right track. That's exactly. So go off that line of thought. Like you said, if I keep it removed, and if I put 6, it's removing this, not this, which I want, right? So how do I keep it adaptable, like you just said?
You always gotta get the size first.
Okay. Now how do I write that thought process out?
List of numbers dot size.
Okay. Well, tell me what do I type? Or let's go.
Wait.
Yeah.
Say it again. I didn't
So
hear your question.
you're right. That's the exact thought pattern you should have, and that is the right solution. But the problem is, how do you, the tough process is how do you type that out? How do you make it so it's always generic and it's always adaptable? How do you type that out? Exactly what you just said.
We have to use system out.
No, forget about printing for now. We can worry about that later. For now, what do you do? Because this isn't necessarily. I'm not really printing anything out. I'm just
Size?
gonna say again.
Don't you just put list of numbers dot size?
For now, actually, let's do this. Copy paste this exactly that, and then we'll switch to your screen. And then I just want to see what you type. Let me know when you're ready. Because I know it's tough to, if you can't type it out, you can't really do anything. So go ahead and share your screen.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So you got the size, and put the remove, because remove is how we originally had it. Say you just want, for now, say you wanted to remove the 21. How do you do it?
Remove. We put this. Okay, so this. 4.
Okay. And now you want to make it adaptable, like you said, your words. So how do you do it? You're talking about size, right?
Yeah. So you take size and
say I wanted to capture size inside of a variable. How would I do that right now? Size is ultimately what? An integer, right?
yeah.
So how do I capture that for now? Forget about everything else. Say I just wanted to get the size. How would you do that? Forget about printing. Okay.
And x equals list of numbers dot size.
Okay. Okay, so what is inside x right now at this moment?
It's gonna be 4. No, 5. I mean 5.
Why 5?
Because there's 5 things in the list.
But what did you put right above it?
4. Oh, remove 4.
You removed it, right? So there's still a sequence of things going on, right? So you don't want to do that right away. I mean, maybe you want to. Well, what do you want to do? Because you don't want to
do that first.
Well, yeah. Okay, go on.
And then, okay, so I have the size, and it's inside X now.
Right.
So what I'd want to do is remove X. No?
Well, just type out what you mean, and then we'll see.
Numbers dot remove, and then we put X.
Okay, that's correct in a way, but how do we say indexes work? And what is X right now? The number. Like go right above int X equals.
Okay, so I'll put X minus 1.
Exactly.
There you
Okay. So
So I
almost
would put
done.
x minus 1.
Wait, what was that, Berm?
Because that's what I did. What he did first is what I did. I didn't put x minus 1. Why is it x minus 1?
All right, let's think
Bec-
about it.
uh,
Yeah, go ahead. Fab, explain.
Because when you get the size, it tells you the number of.
Okay. I got you.
You gotta remember 0, 1, 2, 3.
I think that's what I'm getting there. All right.
All
So
right. All right, but
X is
we're still not
you want-
done. Yeah, so we're still not done. We still need to print out that last, what the new last number is. So how do you do that?
So I do this print mine, and then I would do. Okay, I know. List of numbers that get, and in this, don't say anything. Hold on,
No, you'll get it. I got you. Don't worry.
I think we put x minus 1 again, right?
Why?
Because once again, the same thing that happened here. If
Yep.
I just leave it as x, it's just gonna give me the number of elements or whatever in the list, but the actual thing is less than 1. It starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
If I put it as x, it's gonna be 5.
Right.
But there's the thing, so it's gonna be 4.
Right. And you'll be out of bounds if you put 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that looks good to me. Now I'll try to run it.
Oh,
Let's see what happened.
what the hell was that?
Let me
Yeah, I
see.
was getting all that shit, but I was able to fix it.
Let me see.
Did I do something wrong?
No, because I'm thinking the same. I was in the same line of thought. Let me see what happened. Because you're right. You'd still have to use Oh. Okay.
So I did it differently, but now looking at that, I feel like mine is way more complicated than it needs to be.
No, don't worry. So Fa,
Yeah.
what is X still?
X is still null.
No. Right back in line 29. What is X still? You could comment it out. Right there when you say int X equal list of numbers dot size. What is it?
It's the size.
Which is what? What's the number value right now?
Right now, the size is 5.
Okay. Comment and type that out somewhere, like right next to it.
I think I get what you're
Yeah.
getting.
Do it on the right side of it so you don't comment out the whole line. You get what I mean? Like all the way to the right of that. Yeah, you comment it out and say, X is equal to 5 right now, because that's what it is.
Oh, X equal to 5.
Right.
Okay.
But if you see what I mean, you try to explain what I'm trying to get at.
This number is remove X minus 1. Remove. Is it doing like right here? Is it gonna do that, or is there
It
like
is.
an error?
No, it is. It is. And you are removing that fifth, that 21 at the fifth place, right? By using 4, because 0, 1, 2,
Yeah,
3, 4.
Because it's actually what I can. No. Even if I add stuff, this changes. This will become 6 or 7.
Right. So you can't rely on X, right?
No, like it's supposed to change though, no? Because if I add or remove, this adjusts.
Right, but
No?
it's going sequentially, so that int X is always equal to that 5, right? Because at that moment in time, at line 29, it's equal to 5, right?
Okay, yeah.
So when you remove it, you have 4 elements, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
So
count
I have
up,
to do,
count up the 4. Count up as you regularly would. If there are 4 boxes, count it up.
I'm missing a line of code because right now it's 5. I remove it, it's still 5, so I have to readjust what x means.
Right.
So here x equals get size again.
Yeah, that's it. And I know this is not efficient, but I'm glad you went through this train of thought because it's important to see, and we'll figure out a way to make it more efficient. But let's try it now. Go ahead, save it first. Right. So you saw it happen sequentially, and now you do have the right answer, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So is there a way to make this?
Better or more efficient?
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
Well, no, you
This
don't
is-
have to always rely
my-
on x, right? Do you feel like you need to trap it in that integer, or can you just like kind of replace it in a piece of the code where you don't refer to the integer because that's always going to stay the same, right? But what won't, if that makes any sense.
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Ish, do you see a way to make this more efficient or less verbose, I should say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Can I
you
show
don't
my
necess-
screen?
Yeah,
and tell
Berm.
me if this
Well,
is
actually, before you continue, let's
more
see what Berm
efficient?
says. Yeah,
So I stopped sharing my
yeah, you can stop sharing it.
Oh, shit. Am I sharing? Oh no. So I don't know if this is more or less efficient, but the way it did is up to here is the same as Foz, and then I did a for loop for the rest, which basically does the same thing as we did before, except it doesn't skip. You know, like max age keeps going until the last one on the list, and then it prints it out.
No, that's not what I was going for. I suggested a different approach, but let me show you guys what I mean. So I'll share my screen now. And there's a small distinction, and you'll kind of intuitively get it eventually. Or Ish, did you want to explain?
I kind of did the same thing as Bermo, except I did size and then -1 as
So
my.
you use the for loop as well.
No, I didn't use a for loop
Uh-huh.
for the remove part.
Right.
Well,
But
no, the remove
you-
part I didn't use a for loop. Only
Yeah.
to then print out the last part, the whatever it is after it was removed.
Right. So you still did end up using a for loop ish or never?
Yeah, I used a for loop at the bottom. I didn't know we were supposed to change that, like the for loop to get the max age.
Oh yeah. I was just saying you could obviously, but it's just
use for
I'd say
I didn't know
I'd say
change
Fast's
that.
solution is more elegant because he didn't use the for loop, and eventually he ended up using that max age integer, which kind of threw it off. But let's focus on his because I like his solution. So let me share my screen. All right, so this was Fast's solution. So ultimately, let me just remind myself, get the last number and print new last number. Right, so this is exactly what Fa did. So he took, and just correct me if I'm wrong, Fa. So you took the size list of numbers, not size, right? So you got the size here, and then he removed it. Remove size -1 because because it's go by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then the mistake happened when he was trying to print it out, right? So he thought you could do this, get size -1, but he forgot that this is still the original condition. And let me kind of.
Just do size -2.
You can, but that you can't, scale that up again because you're going to keep doing size -2, -3, -4. You want this to be a permanent solution despite how often this scales up, right? So
that's how hard the for loop. That was my thought process for the for loop. Like, because
Yeah.
I could add as many as I want and it still works.
Right, right. But there's a way to do it without having to do all that. You know, the for loop I get, that's the first thing that comes to your mind when you scale it up. But let's see if there's a way to do it without it. So you remove the size. But the problem is this is still the size of this. So let me verbalize it. So 1, 2, 3, size 3, minus 1 is 2. So 0, 1, 2, you remove the second one, right? If you print system.get size, so 3 minus 2, and since this removes one of these, there's only 2 left, right? So if 3 minus 2 is still, let me type it here, size is equal to 3. So this is still size 3 minus 1, 2, right? But then you get 0, 1, and we remove this, so there's nothing here. You'll get an index out of bounds exception. So how do you make it so this never is the case?
I
That's it?
redefine the size variable,
What do you mean?
or I'm not redefined, but like I put remember I did a list of number size again after the second line of code.
Well, yeah, but then you got to keep doing it, right? Like, say I wanted to remove it again, and then what? Like, say you said, int. Did you say the same? Oh, no, you said size is equal to the new list of numbers that size, right? Right? That's what you're saying. So, but what if,
Yeah.
what if I removed it again? Do you want to keep doing that? Size
But like
minus.
you remove it again when the code was just removed the last stage, and it did that.
No, but what I'm saying is, let me scale this a bit more. So say you remove that, right? But then you'll have to do it again, right? So
Yeah.
you'll have to keep doing this, is what I'm saying. You'll have to keep with your way. You have to keep copy and pasting this anytime you remove, right? Which makes it really pointless, right? This is not good code because you have to keep readjusting it. So what if I did this? So what if I remove this and did this? So remove that, right?
I don't do that.
Huh?
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of hard to wrap your mind around at first, but you don't need to actually lock it into an integer. Technically, anytime you run a function, right? So let me comment this out. Anytime you do this, it's not like just because you didn't, put this in a system.out.println function, and just because you didn't, store it somewhere, doesn't mean this didn't execute. This got the size, it has the 5, it just, it's just lost in the ether because you didn't, you didn't put it anywhere, right? So you can't actually end up using using it. But there are some cases where you want that to be the case, and you don't want to save you don't want to save it. So just like that. So let's space it out a bit. And just like that, you want to remove the last one, and you also want to get the last one. So why not just do this? What is it? Size, same thing. Size minus 1, right? You guys see it?
System out list of numbers.
I get it.
So what I'm saying, Berm, is now I could keep removing it, right? And you don't have that extra ugly variable to always, kind of think of. If you think of it as anytime I want to execute it, you do this, and you're always kind of removing that last one, right? You don't have to store it in a variable, which isn't it's not perfect in its own right. I mean, it's still kind of verbose here, but you don't have to deal with an extra variable that you have to keep track of, is what I'm saying. But Fa still got it, but this was one of those things you keep in mind. But yeah, this is that was it. Any questions? We just had one more thing to go over, and we're good for today.
No, that was good.
Wait. Still a little confused on the like my code, you keep having to like re like we had to like mess with the variable every time.
Yeah.
What about this one? Don't you have to like
You do. I get what you're saying. You do have to keep doing this, but it's just another little, thing. Like this is one line, and your thing is two lines. And I know it's not a big distinction now, but it's just those one of those things you would prefer to have, like because this kind of reads like English. List of numbers that remove, list of numbers that size minus one. It's very it's almost like, obviously not like complete one to one, but it's like English. But as soon as you start adding extra lines, that's when it's going to start kind of mudding things up. And with code, you just want to save as much space as you can, if that makes sense. So yours was right. I'm not saying yours was wrong. Yeah, you had the right solution. It's just a small bit of optimization. So you good with that?
Yeah, and like in a job, like there's gonna be times where my code isn't like the most optimal.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Like you're gonna have bad code, good code, all that. And, some people care a lot, some people don't, as long as it works. Yours would work. It just but it's always a way to make it better, is what I'm saying.
But like, let's say you were like my employer and you saw my code and you saw it's not optimal. You tell me like you want me to like you would tell me to like adjust my code.
Yeah, they have a term just for that, and they go through code bases all the time. It's called refactoring. So a lot of times, you know how we had it in Jira.
And like, does that fall on you to like fix your code, or like
No, not necessarily, because a lot of times the code base is so big.
Like a block, and like I can't figure out like how to optimize it.
No, that's fine. A lot of times people even like, how we had pull requests, right? Well, a lot of times, like, the reviewer could be just as bad, where he's like, all right, I don't really want to look at this, and I'm just gonna let it pass, right? Eventually the code base gets big, and since it's everyone's responsibility. Like, if you do know the code base well, it's up to you to volunteer and fix it yourself if you want, with the pieces you're familiar with. Other than that, you usually, what happens is they pull in a refactor story, and if the sprint is light, meaning that there's no feature work, like I don't know, there's not some kind of new feature you want to put into your project. Good idea is they call it tech debt, meaning that eventually the code, your work gets so bloated and inoptimized that we're like, all right, now we have the clear to kind of clean it up a bit, so to speak, right? So they'll have a story for refactoring, and they'll say, all right, this is a light sprint. Let's put a story into do. Whoever wants to grab it, they could grab it and optimize it. See where the optimizations are needed, and apply it there.
Like that falls on like everyone to do.
Yeah,
like
it falls on everyone, right? Because the review process is on everyone.
Like specifically like, if you're at like optimizing code, like you're not one of those people that like can see code and see like a better way. Like you're not good at that.
No, that's fine. Like a lot of times you'll have that, and that's just a part of it. Like don't worry about like writing bad code. Well, I mean, worry in a way where you're constantly trying to improve, but it's not going to be like a showstopper. Like ultimately, if your method works and everything, usually they'll let it slide. It's not a big deal. Like you won't be targeted for it unless it's like insanely bad. And there's ways to make it insanely bad. Your solution was not insanely bad, like at your level, so you're good.
All right.
Yeah. So let's see. All right. And just like, okay. Just a second. All right. So I know I didn't bring up strings before. I'm just gonna give a quick breakdown of strings. And just like list is a data type of its own, so is string. So what I mean by string is just like how you'd initialize a list here, and I'll just demonstrate how you initialize a string here. So you're slowly graduating in the your kind of mental library of data types. So you have the list, wherein you thought of it as a list of items or whatever they were. Previously, it was integers, and the way I'm typing it out. Obviously, at first I'm talking about integers, so we're worried about numbers now. But here you combine strings, where you're adding strings. So let's see how they work. So just like list had its own set of methods, right? Some disturbance in the background. Yeah, I think someone has to go on mute. So just like a list had its own set of methods, right? You had the add method, which we went over, get, and all these other ones we haven't even touched. And somewhere in there is remove and what was size, right? Just like that. Name has string has its own set. Let's see what they are. So I put dot, and you see all of them. Just like a list is no different from a string in that sense, right? But the one I want to focus on is very similar. Length, which, just like how we said it before, what do you think this will print? Anyone?
How long the name is?
Right, which is what?
3.
Okay. Oh, got the one. Yep, 3. Okay. So if I did this, it would be what?
6.
Yeah, same thing, right? It's very intuitive. And the only other thing you need is the what was it? This. Let's say. All right, I know this is a lot right there. I just typed out of nowhere, but okay, let's not put it like that. Let's say like this. Use it if else block. Okay, I'll let you guys complete the complete what I should put in as text within these two, just by looking at it for a second and just kind of surmising what all this means.
For if, you can put same, and else not same.
Right. So what does this do?
Comparing the length.
No.
Oh, it's comparing what the strings are.
Right. So Fahim and Ish are different, right? So even if this, what would this be?
Not same.
Not same, because they're different strings, even though they have the same size. So not same, right? You're just completing the literal letters of it. Okay. So let's end that with a quick, and it's just as simple as that. So now you know the basic functionality of it. So when name.one at equals, when it's not equal, it throws out a a false statement. But let's see. So far, let's keep track of the methods used for string. What was it? Equals length. Okay. Let me see. So I have a list here, right? The only difference is instead of integers, I have you know, strings inside them. So what would this give me? So I should say like this. So if that was the case, let's say, and let's end it with this, a very simple one. Well, not simple, this is going to be tough, but let me see. Okay. Print length of first name, right? Just think, because I barely gave you anything just now. So you have these two methods, and what I want to do, nothing crazy, technically. All I want is everything you write afterwards. It would have to be the case that if I ran this, print length of first name. If I executed that, what would it give me? I'm asking, like, what would this ideally give me?
It should be 3.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If that's the case, with what you know of lists and what I just quickly demonstrated with strings, go ahead and try to attempt it.
Do I need like a for loop?
You don't
for
need a
this?
for loop. No, you don't need it. Type it down and think it over. And we'll end it here. And if it helps you, you could use like variables to hold. Like what I mean by that is, you know how before I had like string name equals fa? You can do that if you want. If you're uncomfortable with like this right here.
Are we supposed to be doing something?
Yeah. You're supposed to.
Shit. I didn't realize.
Yeah. So.
Wait, when I copied what you wrote, throw me one of those light bulb error symbols.
That's fine. If it's light bulb, then it doesn't really matter. Let me see your screen.
Wait, really quick. What are we supposed to be doing?
Okay. So basically, you have this list of names, right? And all I want you to do
Yeah.
is to get that first name, whatever it is. Right now, it's Fa, right?
Get the first
So you
name.
get the first name, and then just get the length of it, length of whatever that first name is. So in that case, and then print it. And in that case, it would be 3. So this, if I executed this, it would be 3, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
You weren't sharing your screen.
I know. I thought you were going to, right?
Oh, okay, God.
Yeah. What happened?
So
Oh,
for
because you didn't capitalize the L in the array list.
this one,
No. To your right, new array list. There you go. Well, let's keep it on your screen. Let's go to your train of thought. So, Berm, did you get the question, or do you want me to reiterate?
Yeah, you said print the first name.
Well, I said. So you got to list that first, right? So I want you to get that, whatever that first name, get it. Get it and take the length of it, and I want you to print that length, right? So if I were to
Length.
execute,
Okay.
say again.
Yeah, you said print the length, right?
Yeah, print the length of that name, which for Fa it'll be 3.
oh, it's a length, right?
So length is a method that belongs to a list or a string. I'm asking you. That was a question.
Oh, I think what?
To a list, right? Yeah. It's a small distinction. You just gotta keep that in mind. Yeah. So far, list of names refers to a list. So how do you get the length for that? No, erase all that. You're mixing yourself up. So try that from the start. First, get the length of the list. How do you do that? Well, you don't need the length, right?
List
So
length.
if I just want that first name, right, or first item in the list, how do I get it?
You do list of names dot get.
Okay. Get what?
You put 0 for the first name.
Say again. You got cut out.
You put 0 for the first name.
Right, and it's always gonna be 0 because you don't have to worry about that because 0 will always refer to the first. So go ahead.
So wouldn't I put? Would it be something like this?
Did you get the first name yet?
No, I'm supposed to get it first.
Well, yeah, because right now you're not holding anything, right? You still have that list. You didn't extract the string from it. Berm, you have any ideas?
Yeah. Well, I did string first name equals list of names dot get 0.
Okay.
So that makes first name equal to Fa.
Okay.
So now I got the first name. Now I will just do system dot. So I'm at this part now, but instead I'll do system dot out dot println. In parentheses, I would put length, whatever the command is to get the length of first name.
Right. But how are you holding that? Well, all right, let's go to a Berm screen. So Berm, you can
All
share.
right, hold on. There's it.
Okay.
See it?
Yeah, you got it. Right. So, Father, one thing you were missing was you didn't capture that first name, right? You just had list of names on get.0, but it wasn't, you're not holding it. But all right, let's complete it. Go ahead.
So the question was to print the length of the first name, right?
Right.
Okay, so I would print. So now I forget what the function is, but is it first name dot length?
There you go. All right, let's print it.
Hold on, get first name. There you go.
Which is 3.
Three.
So, Fa, did you see kind of
Yeah.
you were pretty much there. All you had to do was hold that that first name somewhere. Because otherwise you can't get the length of it, right? Because you have nothing to refer to. So, you had list of names that get, but again, if you're not holding that, that's get lost. You can't really ever refer to it. But yeah, good job, Berm. So all right, we'll end it here. I'm gonna most likely put up a few more videos. Just nothing like this, like a 2-hour one. Just 5-minute videos here and there. But this week, there's keep your calendar clear. I know you guys. No, this week isn't Coachella, right?
Nah, that's next week.
All right, good. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a lot of homework, and so just just make sure to be on your toes with homework. Ish, I'm gonna have more challenging ones for you, so don't worry. But yeah, we're good to go.
Quick question.
Yeah,
What does this arrow here mean?
where
Do you see where? Can you see
I
my
see it. Honestly, I have no idea. I noticed it too. I'm not sure.
Before it was over on here. Now I see it here.
I
Is
think
that
maybe it's because the main method is in there. Do you have a
no?
main method?
all
Diagonal?
names.
All right, never mind. I have no idea. I'm
Could
not
be
sure.
the one. Like, let's say I'm in this, but I press run. I think it still runs Hello World.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
not.
so it's probably pointing to it, and that's what it refers to.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it's not.
Yeah,
Now it's not
you can't
running.
have multiple main methods because in any project you're only kind of points to one. So it's telling you the actual main method belongs there, and you could change that. I'll probably show you guys how to do that some other time. But all right, that's